So what I'm here to present to you guys on, and I don't know if you guys have heard the news, but we're on the track to be acquired. So we're about 120, maybe 150 days out from full acquisition by the guy that was just up here talking to you, New Frontier Data. So what we're here raising today for is the bridge to that acquisition. So basically what you'll be investing in is us, but we will be rolling up into a much larger company as you see now. So what I want to present to you today is our technology that we're bringing to bear and why we're attractive to a group like New Frontier and also to the cannabis industry in general. So I think we all know that today data in this industry is a mess. It's often there, but people can't use it or capitalize on it. It's very easy to misunderstand it, misinterpret it. It's not regulated in any way, so there's lots and lots and lots of error everywhere you look. Things get talked about on a regular basis, and quotes get made on a regular basis that are just fallacy. We've seen a lot of these predictions, prognostications come up and go down, just like the first year of California cannabis being broadcast at $60 billion of value. Wasn't even close. The other thing about data in this industry is that it decreases in value over time. It's unlike anything else. Unfortunately, what happens is that the longer that people sit on their data, the less valuable it is, because people have already asked and answered the questions, whether they were answered correctly or not. So that's one thing to keep in mind as we move forward. The expense to analyze a lot of this data is very high as well because of the lack of structure. That lack of structure has led to a lot of issues. Nobody has the complete solution yet. We're all moving towards it, right? Everybody has their own little niche, their own little piece of the puzzle. But what we're starting to see is that people are starting to merge together and bring together full solutions. What this industry really needs are full solutions that allow us to do things around market penetration and market entry. So, future of cannabis. Cannabis data, there's a lot of it. You can see it. There's a ton of stuff out there, right? But what we want to do and what we are doing is we're taking all that data and consolidating it into 5 Ps. Because the cannabis industry has a 5th P in it, policy. We all have to deal with policy. We all have to deal with the rules and regulations. They're not usually something that most businesses deal with unless they're in a regulated environment, but this one expressly is very, very difficult to deal with. So we have to deal with different market factors in different states and in even different counties and cities at times. So we've included that 5th P. And we take all that into our platform. So now how do we move ahead as an industry together around this data issue? And you've seen a lot of solutions out there. You know, New Frontier has a great solution, and we're merging with that solution, moving forward with that solution. We've seen solutions from BDS, headset, things like that. Those are very niche-based solutions, sales data-based solutions. But what we're doing is we're bringing a collaborative platform, something that's easy to use, super simple. Most people aren't analysts. In fact, 99% of the world, probably 99.99% of the world, are not analysts, nor do they understand how to analyze data in a way that gives them any real answer. In fact, I had somebody come to me and ask me if it was okay to average 2 median incomes together. Do you know what the average of 2 median incomes is? It's nonsense. It's not real. You can't average 2 middles. It doesn't work like that. But people don't understand that kind of stuff, right? So what we've done is we've set out to give the industry something simple to use, something easy to use, something affordable to use that you don't need to be an analyst to use. If you don't understand certain types of graphs, if you don't understand certain types of outputs, this is the solution for that group. What we're about is data democratization mixed with data monetization, okay? Not privatization for the sake of privatization. So you can see back on this slide what we've done is we've made the platform very easy to use. Instead of us telling you what you need to know and spending hours and hours of dev time hard coding charts for you, we start you with a little bit of data to start the questions. Then you interact with our AI system in a collaborative conversational way, and it starts to suggest answers to you instead based on your questions. Okay? It's not done in the industry now. Nobody has anything like this. It's very rare to see anything like this interacting with data just straight forward. You know, it's similar to a Netflix model or an Amazon model where they're producing and pushing content to you. We're not pushing content. We're pushing formatted data answers to you now. So now you can drive the process, which puts us ahead of the space. Because most of the people in the space are hard coding charts. We're not hard coding charts. We're letting the customers tell us what they want to see and what they want. And they're going to get those answers back, and we're going to suggest answers to them as well with our AI at the same time. And if we don't have the answers at that point, we know exactly where to go look for the answers and the data to fill those needs. Simple and powerful answers from just asking the question. That's all you have to do with us, is just ask the platform a question. It's a really intricate AI system that's custom built. Everything else is based on Amazon technology. We're compliant across all the spectrums here. The questions can be voice or text. You can speak to the system itself, which makes things very easy. So even internally, if you wanted to share data with somebody that didn't understand data, they can ask questions like, how many cannabis users are in Chicago, Illinois? And get a quick, dirty answer. Now, how many are between the ages of 19 and 25? Quick and dirty answer. In a bunch of different formats. And then they feed us back their feedback. Was this helpful or not? The AI learns which is the best of the right answers along the way. This is how it works. It looks simple. It's very complicated, but it is simple the way it works. So if you look at the slide above, you'll see that we take the question and we break it down into pieces. We identify these pieces with AI. We tell it where the data is, and it starts suggesting solutions to you. You can see here now, what's the priciest brand of drinks in Denver? It understands that you're looking for either a text output or maybe a widget output with a graph of multiple products. And you can choose which one is right for you and tell the system which one is right for you too. It's going to also suggest to you other answers that you may be interested in at the same time. What are the benefits to the customer? Access to more data. Straightforward access to more data. Most people don't even have access to this data at any price, or they have access to large swaths of data that they don't understand how to deal with. It's a very quick access to data. We combine data sets together, both private and public, that come together to help them develop really interesting solutions for themselves very quickly. They don't need to be an analyst, right? You just ask a question. And we don't restrict them. We don't restrict them to what we generate. We generate enough content to start the conversation, and that's it. Now, here's the second half of this thing, which makes it very, very interesting, is that most people in my space that provide SaaS are only looking for customers. We're only looking most of the time for subscribers or people to use our platforms. But what we saw was a major need in this industry for people in business who are collecting data to not feel afraid to share their data anymore. Most of the relationships that we have with data providers are old and long and have come because of trust and relationship. But what we want to do is we want to reassure people in this market that they can add data to their bottom line now. Most companies in the world have data in their bottom line someplace, but our industry doesn't, because it's been protected and kind of guarded, and everybody thinks their data is better than everybody else's. But what we're going to do is we're going to give a solution now that enables businesses to be able to use our platform to push their data out through a rev share model. They don't lose their IP. They don't lose access to their data. They can leave anytime they like at a very, very small upfront fee. Now, this first round is gauged at the individual producer and maybe at the MOS level as well, in order to prove a model that will go forward to the large level with the nexuses, the POSs, and the large providers. So let's talk a little bit about our technology. This is a little crazy, right? So not for the faint of heart. But basically what I'm showing you here is that the technology that we have, that we're raising on, is already built. We're in phase 2 of the AI generation, which is generating content on the fly at a much faster pace at this point. We're adding more and more qualifiers to that content generation scheme. And what we have here is just basically we take the content, we put it into a raw facility, we take it, we store it in an S3. We can stack multiple S3s, segregate S3s at any point, make them available or unavailable to each other for mixing, enabling people to preserve IP or preserve privacy. And then we take that into our query mapping area where we then, well, I guess into our data lake where we then catalog with Glue and use Athena for search through Glue. And then we take that into our query mapping. Consumer asks a question is pointed to a data set returns the data, query mapper decides what is the best format for that data to be displayed. It's displayed in a couple of different formats that the user selects. It's then stored, again, now as structured data. So we don't return that as unstructured data. We leave that as structured data in a separate secure area. And then we deploy through APIs to Dash. Now, the beautiful thing about this API is it will deploy to any platform. It doesn't need to just deploy to ours. It's written on AWS technology, so it deploys very easily. Business model, as you can see, is a very simple model. Number one, the data licensees, or the broadcasters as we like to call them now, thinking of more of the Netflix, Amazon Prime model, starts at about $25,000. Now, I don't know who in here does any kind of dev, but I don't know what you can get for $25,000 in dev other than a trip to Costco, maybe, you know, a new TV, something like that. You're not going to get much for $25,000. But for what you get from us, for a month's worth of dev, basically, is 6 to 7 indicator solutions that you can immediately bring customers to sell on. And also, we train the AI at the same time so that now your customers can interact with your data through our AI system and generate their own results from your data. We then report that activity back to you so that you know how people are looking at your data and what you are not catching that they're looking for. And then we've got the subscription model, which is the general subscriptions. We segregate by location, state and province. We're both US and Canada, so state and province are the single level. Region is the next level, and the countries at the next level after that, right? Full access to all those state sets. We offer some biannual and yearly pricing as well for large groups. And so kind of how this works with a broadcast partner is very simple. It's a very, very simple process, much simpler than most others. Is one, we kick off the relationship, we talk to them, we figure out what their customers are looking for and how we implement that through our AI. Train our AI, develop a couple of suggest widgets for their platform to start with. We put their, at the same time we're setting up their secure storage. We announce their datacast and we're off and running. They bring their customers over. We split revenue with them 100%. We also offer a special rate to their customers so that they are not paying the full rate. They're paying a separate rate. Now, here's the beauty of this thing is not only does that customer flow in and we get them immediately, but now there are other customers in the system who can see their datacast as a separate uptick. So if they're in at $399.99 a month and they see a data set that's $50 a month more, they can pick that new data set and add that for a month for $50. We split that revenue with that provider as well. So what this does is it allows us to quickly engage companies for data without their fear and with an ability for them to generate revenue right away. So this is a real simple projection. We've been very, very, very conservative with these projections, especially with our roll-up. These will change, but we're looking to generate about 1.24 million. We've only generated about 120 this year because we didn't do any direct marketing at all. We just spent our money on dev, and so we've been slowly just picking up people along the way to prove the platform. We deal with pretty much everybody in the industry now. We've got big dispensary groups, we've got growers, we've got producers in there, we've got ancillary groups, marketing and advertising groups as well. And our ask is simple. It's $1 million at 7.5 pre, 8.5 post, with a roll-up into the New Frontier group within the next 3 months or so. Our team is well-skilled. So we've been able to do a lot with a little bit. We've done all of this with less than $1 million to date. We use some of our revenue to do some of these kinds of things, but for the most part, we've sunk it all back in. So I came forward myself. I'm the largest shareholder still. I came forward with myself in the beginning and launched around $350,000. We raised another 400 and change from New Frontier, raised 125 from friends and family, that kind of stuff. So for that money, over the past almost 2.5, coming on 3 years here pretty soon, we've been able to do all of this very frugally. And you can see from what I've got here is I've got a ton of developers. These guys are very highly skilled. I've got a great CEO. He's a young CEO. He's got lots and lots of energy. We're incredibly lean. We're able to pivot quickly. And we are marketing and advertising guys. So we know how to push the program out there. We know how to get stuff out there and get people buying. So I think with that, I think I've got a few minutes left. Are there any questions in the audience at all? Sure.
Yeah, okay, so you see the data,
Mm-hmm.
so you can pinpoint the audience in different target areas to down to the T?
Correct. So what we've done in conjunction with New Frontier along the way, we've been working with New Frontier for almost 2 years now. They did a study with MJ Freeway or Akerna that defined these archetypes. So we took those archetypes. We had already defined 67 different profiles based on existing market data obtained from Experian and Esri, and actually linked those to cannabis consumers in their location. So we understood very clearly what that consumer looked like, what their profiles are, how they behave, and lots of other indicators as well, along with unique identifiers like email addresses, phone numbers, IP addresses, MAC addresses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we're able to actually tell you when you're speaking to that person. Exactly. We can give you a population in an area. We go to the city level right now. We can provide a little deeper than that, but not on the platform. We do that privately outside. But yeah, we can spot them to the T. Yeah, it's not hot.
What I want to know is like, okay, so the age range.
Mm-hmm.
What do you start at age range?
So we start at the age of 18 and we go to 85.
Okay, so being that the cannabis industry focus on 21 and up.
Right.
So being at 18 is because of CBD, or why is that?
18 is for medical.
Medical.
So we work a lot with medical groups too. So we track disease. Everything you could think about from a consumer, not just cannabis use or CBD use or proclivity to buy or who's going to buy the most in your area, what are the age ranges in your area so that you can predict, who's going to buy, stuff like that, or who's going to take a product. We also deal with tracking disease. The top 10 most prescribed diseases, we track them. We track doctors, we track clinics. We track all that kind of stuff, and we can tell you in any area what kind of person you're dealing with at any time. To the T.
Last question.
Sure.
Sorry, last question. Okay, so if I wanted to reach out to the age group prior
Right.
to 2021,
Right. I can prepackage an audience for you. Yeah, absolutely we can. And that's one of the things that we're offering through Next Frontier. Prepackaging of audiences. Okay? Sure. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, so well, I mean, it's great to hear about this, the manner in which the information can be derived. When I think about the demand for I don't think I need it, I think when I think about the demand from a client standpoint and the ability to target by market,
Right.
by consumer segment, and then to be automated to aggregate and be the consumer profile, that's really very valuable to a number of client segments outside of cannabis, and I'm clearly are thinking about this within New Frontier.
Right.
When I think about the projection, though, it seems to
Right, exactly. So when we developed this, we didn't develop this just because. So this AI enables us to ask questions of the data set, and the data set stays the data set no matter what. So I can ask a question as a consumer, or I can ask a question as a business, right? So if people want to know, we collect information on strains and dosages and all kinds of stuff, So a consumer who's interested in something like that can ask the question. So yes, and beyond that, the data is the data is the data, so it doesn't matter what vertical we throw into this thing, you can ask questions of the data regardless. And I think I'm getting prompted. So I think they need to take me away. But I'll be out in the main area if you guys want to talk a little bit more, and I'd love to meet with any of you. So thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate your time. Take care.